It's everybody's favorite time of the week because it's power ranking time here on League Unlock. My name's Eric. Thanks for hanging out with us today as we go through some of the top regions on the planet. We're doing our 10-1 after week 1 or 2, depending on what region we're talking about. We're going to start in North America, which is not the best region in the world. It's second best after MSI. They're into week 2, as well as the LPL, LCK, and LEC debuted, kicked off this weekend, but we are in week 2 in North America, and we've already got some themes going. And if you start with those power rankings in 10-6, you'll see the theme is one team without a win. And guess who it is? The same team from last split in spring, 100 Thieves, 0-4. It's supposed to be the turnaround, and that, of course, was not the case. You've already seen some of the behind the scenes with Amazing coming in, and this guy's personality is so opposite of the rest of this team. I don't know how well it's going to work. You would think it should work. Would think it'd be an improvement. Wasn't the case. They went 0-2, and they were close against Clutch. That was one of the big matchups. Well, it wasn't a big matchup. That looked like maybe they'd finally get a win. You had the crazy base defense, and this was just like, you remember, Azael kind of referenced it, the Jax Quadra stun from Someday, which, by the way, was also against Clutch. This time he's doing it on the Nico to try and save the game. But 100 Thieves were on the back foot the entire game, and it was too little too late before they finally decided to make some proactive plays and try and do something. Clutch, they turned it around. They got the win. That's why you're seeing them rise up a couple of spots. They were in 10th for week 1. They go up to 8th, which, I mean, maybe you could even put them a little higher after going 2-0, but it's still a long journey up, and you got to account for that first week. So Clutch go in to number 8. 100 Thieves, I mean, there's really no arguing at this point. I think a lot of the other teams right now in North America look pretty evenly matched, except for 100 Thieves. So we're 2 weeks in, and they're already pretty much in their own category of ineptitude in at number 10. You saw Echo Fox there sandwiched in between Clutch and 100 Thieves. That is the biggest drop of the week. And I mean, 6 spots, you're going to have some rapid movement here in the first couple of weeks again, because there's so much movement when there's only 2 games per week. They took down Liquid in week 1, and that's when we still thought Liquid were the dominant force in North America. But we're starting to see it might not be the case for at least the first couple of weeks, but an 0-2 week for them has them dropping down to that 9th spot. FlyQuest still 1-3. They've got a worse record than Clutch, but again, they have had an absolutely brutal schedule to start off their summer split, and they did get a win against TSM, and you're going to say, well, they beat TSM, so why are they a spot lower than them? I think TSM has had better moments in their 2 wins. I mean, FlyQuest they've had some tough schedules. They've gone against Golden Guardians, Cloud9, now TSM, and apparently OpTic is actually, the only undefeated team, so they're the best team in the league. So it's been a tough schedule for them. They've still looked good, and TSM, I feel like Grig and Acadian, I don't know how much more playing time Acadian's going to be getting, because they just look a lot better with Grig in this lineup so far. He has both their wins. Acadian has both the losses. So I think if we're going a TSM or Grig's version of TSM, they might be higher than 6. But with the combo of them, TSM are staying put. FlyQuest does climb up a little bit, and I expect them to continue to climb as this season progresses, but at 1-3, they're slotted in that number 7 spot right behind TSM. But those 2 squads are pretty evenly matched right now, and I wouldn't be too worried if you are FlyQuest or a fan of FlyQuest, because 1-3, when you've already got a lot of the big boys in NA out of the way, you still got your matchup against 100 Thieves. So wins are on the horizon for FlyQuest, no doubt. Let's look at the top 5, which is similar to last week. Echo Fox is the only one that gets bounced out, and CLG climbs their way up a couple of spots because, again, they took down Team Liquid. And if you take down Liquid, who, again, we're still kind of accounting for MSI and them taking down IG. You still get a lot of boost and praise when you take down Team Liquid, even though they haven't looked nearly as good here in North America. But CLG does get it done. They played a great game against them. We kind of talked about it on the recap show, but Wiggly in particular, I think, stepped up in a big way for them. His early game was great, and Sejuani he had some great ultis on her. So CLG move into that 4 spot. I obviously have zero faith in them maintaining a top 4 position because we're still so early on in this split. Last year you saw Golden Guardians going in top 3 for a while. You've seen so many teams that don't stay in the top 3 get there in those early days. I feel like that's what we're going to be seeing from CLG, but nonetheless, here they are sitting pretty in that top 4 with Liquid going down a spot and still staying in the top 5, both of them 2-2. The top 3, and obviously the biggest surprise of the first 2 weeks, is definitely OpTic sitting at 4-0. Didn't expect such a solid start from them. And listen, a lot of their wins since they've been introduced into franchising have been some real, I'll say, fiestas, not really confidence instilling wins, but that really hasn't been the case here. The first 2 weeks, they have been dominant, and the real only reason we don't have them higher than that 3rd spot is because their strength of schedule has been much lower than any of the other teams ahead of them in Cloud9 and the Guardians. The toughest opponent they've played is FlyQuest, and if you're looking at records right now, they're just 1-3. But FlyQuest is a legit team, but OpTic, they haven't played any of the big 3. They need that to test them before I think we can put them higher than that number 3 spot. But they have been dominant. They've looked really good, and if they keep playing like this, no doubt they will continue their climb up our power rankings. The Guardians actually move into number 1 because they took down C9 in that matchup, handed them their first loss of the season. And the reason Cloud9 didn't go further, didn't go behind OpTic, is there were still a lot of positives from that matchup against GGS, and I think both of them looked really solid. We're canceling, the Cloud9 win definitely trumps in a big way the loss that they had to Clutch. Clutch had a great weekend, and yes, it might be insane to have the Guardians in that top spot when they did drop a game to the team that we had in 10th place in week 1, but Clutch, again, looked way better in week 2, and the Guardians, you gotta value a solid win more so than a tough loss. So taking down Cloud9 when they were at a deficit early on is enough to put them in that top spot, but the teams are so close, almost from 1 to 8 right now. You can see some huge changes in the standings, and you will see huge changes in the rankings as the weeks go on.